The 6 signs of a foolish person through the lens of Stoic philosophy. You see, in all my years observing people, reading the words of Stoics, and watching how we react to life's challenges, I've come to realize something. Wisdom isn't about how much you know. It's about how you live, how you think, how you respond when things fall apart, and most of all, how you master yourself. But here's the twist. Foolishness isn't always loud and obvious. Sometimes it hides behind busyness, behind bravado, behind habits we never question. The Stoics, men like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, left us timeless clues. They didn't just point out the traits of the wise. They revealed the traps the foolish fall into. So what are they? Today we'll walk through 6 unmistakable signs of a foolish person. But this isn't about labeling others. It's about seeing clearly, seeing ourselves. Because every one of these signs is a mirror. And in that mirror, we're offered a choice. Stay the same or grow wiser. You ready? Then let's begin. Sign 1. Wasting time like it's unlimited. A foolish person treats time like it's nothing. They'll guard their money, their car, even their leftovers. But time? They toss it around like it'll always be there. Epictetus warned us. People are frugal in guarding their property, but when it comes to wasting time, they are most extravagant. Take Dan, a man I used to know. He filled his days with distractions, endless social media, gossip, pointless arguments. Whenever you'd ask what he was working toward, he'd shrug. Just killing time, he'd say. Killing time, what a phrase. The Stoics would have called that spiritual suicide. You see, time is the one thing you can never get back. Every wasted hour is a missed chance to improve, to reflect, to live. And the foolish don't see that until it's too late. They wake up one day and realize the years flew by, but they never truly lived. A wise person, they treat every hour like it matters. They schedule their time like gold, not to be busy, but to be intentional. If you find yourself drifting through your days, pause. Ask, what am I really doing with this moment? Because while fools waste time, the wise treat it like the sacred currency of life. Sign 2, letting emotions rule the mind. The second sign, being a slave to emotion. Stoics never denied feelings. They just refused to be ruled by them. Seneca put it plainly, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Foolish people ride emotional roller coasters. One insult ruins their day, one failure, and they collapse into self-pity. Anger drives their decisions, fear shapes their dreams, and doubt keeps them frozen. Take Maya. She was brilliant but impulsive. One day she'd be full of confidence, the next in tears over a negative comment. Every mood swing sent her spinning. When challenges came, she didn't respond, she reacted. And those reactions cost her relationships, jobs, and peace. Stoicism teaches us that we are not our emotions. You can feel anger and not act on it. You can feel fear and still move forward. The foolish person becomes their emotion. The wise person observes it. If you notice yourself snapping, spiraling, or freezing in the face of feeling, ask yourself, what would a rational mind do right now? Because mastering your emotion doesn't mean suppressing it. It means seeing it clearly and choosing action anyway. Sign 3, blaming the world instead of owning their role. Fools love to blame. The weather, the boss, the government, their parents, fate, Mercury in retrograde, you name it. Anything but themselves. But Stoicism is built on this truth. You can't control the world, but you can always control how you respond. Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Let me tell you about Julian. His startup failed, and he spent years blaming the market. Bad timing, he'd say. But if you looked closely, you'd see missed deadlines, ignored advice, and a refusal to pivot. Truth was, he failed to take responsibility. Fools refuse ownership, so they never improve. They spin the same story over and over, trapped in their own narrative of victimhood. But wise people, they own everything, not because they love blame, but because they love growth. They ask, what could I have done differently? That question alone is a superpower. Next time things go wrong, and they will catch yourself. Are you pointing fingers or holding a mirror? Because Blame builds walls. Ownership builds wisdom. Sign 4. Talking more than they listen. Here's a big one. Fools love the sound of their own voice. They interrupt, dominate, lecture, not to connect, but to prove they're right. The Stoics would call this the arrogance of the ignorant. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, if someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change, for it is the truth I seek. How many of us can honestly say that? I remember a man named Fred, brilliant on paper. In meetings, though, he talked over everyone, shut down opposing views. His team stopped offering ideas, not because they had none, but because Fred never listened. His company failed not from lack of talent, but from lack of humility. The foolish seek validation. The wise seek understanding. Want to grow fast? Start listening, not just to answer, but to learn. Because every person you meet knows something you don't. And when you listen, truly listen, you multiply your wisdom without saying a word. Sign 5. Fearing change, clinging to comfort. Comfort is a warm blanket, but if you never take it off, it becomes a cage. Foolish people resist change. Even when their habits are harmful, even when their job is draining or their relationship's toxic, they'd rather stay comfortable than evolve. But the Stoics embrace change as the natural law of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change." Take Evelyn. She stayed in a job she hated for a decade. Every year she said, maybe next year. Deep down, she was scared, not of change, but of the unknown. And that fear cost her 10 years of purpose. When she finally made the leap, she said, I should have done this sooner. Fools let fear write their future. The wise let purpose guide their steps. Remember, nothing in life stands still. Not your body, not your relationships, not your circumstances. The only question is, will you resist change or rise with it? Ask yourself, am I staying here because it's good or just because it's familiar? The difference determines your destiny. Sign 6, acting without reflection. The final sign is perhaps the most dangerous, living unconsciously. Foolish people move from task to task, reaction to reaction, without ever asking why. They wake up, go to work, scroll for hours, argue, repeat. No reflection, no examination, no growth. Socrates, who inspired much of Stoic thought, famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." The Stoics took that seriously. They journaled. They meditated on death. They reviewed their day each night. Take Helena. She was always busy. But when her father passed suddenly, she broke down not just from grief, but from the realization that she'd never really been present, never asked deep questions, never lived with intention. After that, she started each day asking, what is within my control? What kind of person do I want to be? Fools run blindly. The wise pause often. They reflect. They realign. If you've been running on autopilot, stop. Look around. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this how I want to live? Because only in reflection do we find direction. So, are you a fool or a philosopher in the making? Before you close this page thinking, wow, I've done all 6 of these, let me stop you right there. So have I. So have the Stoics. The point of this list isn't to shame you, it's to wake you up. Stoicism doesn't demand perfection. It invites practice. The whole point is to see where you're falling asleep and to wake up. So if you wasted time, if you let your emotions run wild, if you blamed others, resisted change, talked too much, or lived without reflection, welcome. You're human. But now you get to choose something better. You get to live by intention, to guard your time, to master your reactions, to reflect, to grow. Because foolishness is just a stage. Wisdom is a choice. And the moment you choose to be better, you already are. So keep walking the path. Journal, breathe, pause, ask the hard questions. And remember, you're not alone on this road. The Stoics walked it too. And now, so will you. The path is yours now. So here we are, 6 signs, 6 mirrors, 6 chances to grow. Maybe you saw a bit of yourself in each one. Maybe you winced, nodded, or whispered, that's me. Good. That means you're paying attention. And awareness, that's the first step toward wisdom. Because being foolish doesn't make you broken. It makes you human. But staying foolish, that's a choice. The Stoics never promised a perfect life. They promised a better one. A life guided by reason, by virtue, by clarity. A life where every setback is a lesson, every emotion is a signal, and every day is a fresh chance to get it right. So take these lessons with you. Write them down. Live with intention. Pause often. Speak less. Feel deeply but act wisely. And above all, never stop growing. If this journey moved you even a little, then join us. Envelope with Arrow subscribe to Everyday Stoicism, where we bring ancient wisdom to modern life, one insight at a time. Thank you for walking this path with me today. Until next time, be present, be steady, and be wise. Waving hand, medium light skin tone, stay grounded. Shield, stay stoic. Goodbye for now.